The last time we made these during Chinese New Year's, I couldn't fry them fast enough for people. While I'm cooking and prepping the dish, I'll just wave over my uncle or something. I'm like, hey, come over here and give this a try. He'll ramble over, eating this. He goes, oh, that's good, that's good. And then the word spreads and then somebody else comes and another person comes. Finally, I have to cut it off and make sure we have enough for dinner. Hi everybody, it's Bill from The Walks of Life, and today we're gonna make Chinese fried ribs with red fermented bean curd. Chinese New Year is coming up, and it's an easy to make dish, a dish that you can make ahead. And if you've never heard of Chinese red fermented bean curd, you're in for a surprise. We use that in the rib marinade, and it's super tasty. And this recipe is really a hidden gem on thewalksoflife.com.
When did we post this recipe?
Many years ago, I think, and now we're bringing to you live on YouTube. So these ribs are bite-sized pieces. We bought these individually cut ribs, sliced already, 2.7 pounds. You can do that, or you can buy the whole rack of ribs and cut them into pieces, and then we're gonna chop them up with the cleaver. If you're uncomfortable with that, you can also find these at the grocery store or at your butcher, or ask your butcher to do it. Chinese grocery stores have them all the time. They're all pre-cut into small pieces already. We're gonna measure out the 2 pounds of ribs, and we're gonna leave the ends and the bits for soup later. Some pork bone soup with watercress is in our future. So the reason why I love this recipe, and you guys might be a little bit hesitant about deep frying, but hey, on New Year's Day, you're gonna deep fry some spring rolls. You're gonna deep fry maybe some shrimp chips. The deep fryer is gonna be going. So this is one of the items you're gonna deep fry the night before. You're gonna marinate these ribs, throw them in the fridge, take them out the next day and fry them. Or you can actually do that the day before, store them in the fridge, and then the day of, take them out and refry them for the second fry to make them crispy. And that just makes things so much easier, especially if you're cooking a variety of dishes and they're fresh, crispy, just like you made them the same day. So now I'm gonna show you how to cut these ribs. We're gonna open this guy up. It's really convenient to have this bone cleaver because you don't wanna use your regular knife on this because you might nick your blade, but this bone cleaver is pretty thick, extra thick.
Or even a regular cleaver can get nicked.
Even a regular cleaver can get nicked, yes. A regular carbon steel cleaver is much thinner. See how thick this is? And it gets tapered at the bottom, but this bottom is super thick. It's a much less of a chance than if you use your regular cleaver or your knife. Whatever surface it is, gotta be solid, can't be bouncing around. So I also put a slightly damp cloth down, and I'll get my cutting board. I'm gonna take these ribs out, put them here, and I'm gonna sort them. This is kind of a skinny rib, so I'm gonna put this aside. This rib is not that meaty, but I see the end over here is gonna be a nice bit, so I'm just gonna give it a cut, put that in the good pile. This looks good here. See where all the meat is? You don't wanna start cutting on that side because that's gonna slow your knife down. It's kinda squishy and it moves around. You could do it like this, but then you got this curve over here, and then you got this meat you gotta cut through. So what I like to do is put it on this edge here where it's kind of solid, and then you size it up, and then you got a good piece, just like that. And again, if you're not comfortable doing this, leave it to your butcher. You want these ribs to be probably about like 1.5 or 2 inches. This has a little bit of white bone on it, but you could actually just kind of cut that off because that's going to kind of get in the way of eating. And then this is going to be a nice meaty piece that you bite. Okay, so that's the end. Oh, so I didn't get it solid through. Just bang it through like that. Now this creates some bone spurs over here, which is why we're gonna give all of these a good rinse. Okay, so we're done cutting our ribs. I'm just gonna move this cutting board aside, and now we're gonna weigh our ribs after I wash my hands. I'm gonna zero out the scale with this on here. I'm gonna start putting these ribs in until we get 2 pounds. 2 pounds of ribs right here, and the rest will go into the freezer for the next soup pot. So if you have any additional questions about pork ribs, be sure to check out our YouTube video and post that covers all types of pork ribs, especially for Chinese cooking. And we'll leave that link right here and below in the description. And we're just gonna rinse this off with cold water, agitate it a bit.
I think that this importance of the soaking of the meat can't be underestimated. For soups, for braised dishes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Soaking these, you get all these particles, and some of these are bone spurs that are floating up, and some of this is blood, and it's just not going to taste as good, and it's also going to cloud your sauce or your soup in this case, and you don't want that. The flavor is still all in the ribs. And this is why I say agitate it a little bit, because you might have some spurs left over which are very unpleasant.
You can chip a tooth.
It's okay to let this soak for a little while. I've got this colander, and what I like to do is let the water run just a little bit and just give everything a rinse and a shake as we're transferring them into the colander. And look how clean those ribs are now. We're just gonna let them air dry and drain because we don't want too much water on them. And boy, am I excited to eat this. All right, seasonings for this fried ribs. And this is the star of the dish. It's red fermented bean curd. It has a unique flavor. It has a little bit of sorghum liquor in it, which ferments it. It comes in various sizes. This one has smaller cubes in it. Sometimes it comes in these bigger cubes that are about like 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Sometimes we recommend certain sauces that you have to get this brand. This I think is pretty generic, it's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all the ingredients, marinate the ribs, refrigerate it overnight, add our cornstarch to it, and fry it. If you're a little short on time and you wanna make them the same day, just marinate them for a minimum of 2 hours. Okay, we're ready to marinate these ribs. We're gonna start with 1/2 teaspoon of ground white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, also 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder. Then we've got the 5 spice powder, 1 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. So why are we putting baking soda? So baking soda, these are fried ribs, and we're gonna pretty much use cornstarch for the frying. There's no flour in this, so the baking soda will tenderize the rib, and it will loosen up the cornstarch. Next, we've got 2 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 large piece of fermented bean curd, about 1 tablespoon.
One big cube.
1 big cube. These cubes are smaller. That's about a tablespoon. So I'm gonna put that there, and it says add a little bit of sauce, about 1 teaspoon of sauce. And I was just wondering why there's no sugar in this recipe, but we use something even better. 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Why is there no sugar in here? Do I trust the recipe?
Trust it.
I'm trusting the recipe. So let me make sure I don't miss anything.
The maple syrup.
The maple syrup, that's what the sugar is.
That's the sugar, you ding dong.
Okay, really nice. And for those people who don't know, refrigerate your maple syrup after you open, otherwise it'll get moldy.
Can confirm it will get moldy.
Yes, this is from experience. Okay, so that's good. We've got that going. Now we've got 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. The cornstarch we're gonna add later. So the very first thing that you get these cubes of bean curd squished up. And then I'm gonna use the spatula to mix everything up together. Oh boy, if you could smell this, this is spectacular. Now I know why I love these ribs so much. This is why we make them every Chinese New Year. These are all mixed and coated. We're gonna put them in the fridge overnight. If you're pressed for time, another 2 hours, at least 2 hours. You really need to let all the ingredients penetrate the ribs, which is why we cut them into these bite-sized pieces. After that, we'll add the cornstarch and we'll deep fry them. Okay, we've got our ribs, marinated ribs, out of the refrigerator, and we're ready to add 1/4 cup of cornstarch. So the cornstarch here makes a nice coating that's gonna fry up nice and crispy. And the baking soda that we added has 2 uses. One use is it tenderizes the rib a little bit, but it also makes it so that that cornstarch is not quite as stiff, and the baking soda will help in that. Okay, look at that. That's what it's supposed to look like. You see, you got now a nice coating over here on the ribs, and boy, that smells so good. We're ready to go to the fryer. So what kind of oil should you be using for frying? Peanut oil is great for frying. However, it's actually quite expensive and it's harder to find. Canola oil we use, vegetable oil is fine. Today actually we're gonna use some vegetable oil, and vegetable oil is actually, the majority of it is soybean oil. It's really not worth it to use avocado oil. Avocado oil is a high smoking point. You use it for stir frying, it's healthier, but not for deep frying. It's just a little bit too costly. Okay, our oil looks like it's up to temperature and increasing, which is good because when we put the ribs in, it's gonna cool off the oil. So I've got the ribs here.
You need like a chopstick or something?
Nah, I'm just gonna use my fingers. Why am I swishing this around? Because I'm putting a little crust at the bottom so it's less prone to sticking.
Yeah, the first one you could hear it sizzle when it hit.
And we're gonna probably fry this in like 3 batches, right around 300 degrees for 5 to 7 minutes. You don't want them too high of a temperature because otherwise they'll fry up too dark. It takes a while to put these in, so I'll put the big ones in first. They should all be actually more uniform size, but they usually aren't. Now that I'm towards the end of the batch, I'm gonna put the smaller pieces in. Actually, I might be able to do this in 2 batches. I'm not gonna move them. And we're gonna start our timer. Now we're just gonna use the back of the wok spatula in case anything was sticking, and just move them around a little bit. If it's been 7 minutes, we're gonna take them out and let them rest. Gonna mix this up again, put in our second batch. There goes the timer, 7 minutes. Second batch of ribs, ready to serve. Now these really don't require a double fry per se, but if you are going to serve these later, then you can reheat them in the fryer, or you can actually put them in the air fryer or an oven. Put these right on. And this is your Chinese fried ribs with red fermented bean curd. And before you serve it, we're gonna bam them with a little bit of scallion, make them look festive, and let's go try them. Happy New Year's! Oh man, this is a Happy New Year if you got this to eat. And I keep saying Chinese fried ribs. What are these? These is lam yu pai guat. Lam yu means fermented red bean curd. Pai guat means ribs. It's a hidden gem in our recipe archives. You must make it for Chinese New Year.
They're so good.
They are delicious. You can make them ahead and reheat them.
They'll disappear.
In the air fryer, you can reheat them. In the oven, refry them, even better. Please make this recipe. You're doing yourself a favor.
It's very neglected, actually.
It's a very neglected recipe, and it's delicioso. So for your next gathering, whether it's Chinese New Year or just a friends and family get together, you gotta make these Chinese ribs, the lam yu pai guat. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe to us on YouTube, but be sure to check out this recipe on thewoksoflife.com because it has all of the details and tips and tricks on there, and it also has a whole host of other recipes that you can enjoy as well. Thanks, folks.
What's the technical title?
Chinese fried ribs with fermented red bean curd for Chinese New Year.
Way too long.